Hi everybody and welcome to the third part in this video tutorial series. In this part we'll import this character, do his animations because we made some quick and easy animations, and set up some particles. Just to be clear about this, these tutorials are just quick recaps of classes in digital arts and entertainment. You can find the link below if you're interested. I'll try to quickly go through the nodes setup so that we get the end result. So I'm going to start importing these FBX files. So there's one thing I found in 4.11. Apparently there's still a little bug and I have to change this option. Alright, good. With everything imported, we now set up the animations. So we have our mesh with our texture, our material, our skeleton, our animations. Inside of the skeleton I will create on his right palm a socket and I'll name it right hand. In the animation create a blend space 1D and call it idle walk. Call this label speed and he'll walk at a speed of 200. So drag in the idle and the walk at the end. So if you hover over this, whoops, the walk here at the end, so he now blends between walking and idling. Perfect. Create the animation blueprints found under animation, not under blueprints. Using this skeleton and in this graph we'll start off by creating a new state machine. Let's call this moving, attacking, link this up. Inside of the state machine we'll create one state, new state called idle walk, another state called and another state called attacking. Inside of the idle walk state we'll get our blend space, our idle walk blend space. We'll link this up and we'll promote this to a variable and we'll name this variable speed. Inside of the attacking state we'll set the attacking or shooting animation, which I call the throw animation. And just link this up. So these are not happening yet. We'll start from this one. And now you should be able to see the speed. And increasing the speed will make him walk already. So that's working already. To make the transition from idle walk to attacking, we'll use a boolean state. So make this transition and make this transition. Double click on the transition arrow, and we'll name this bool is attacking. From the other state, we'll simply get a not node in between there. This is most of the things you have to do in the animation blueprints. In the event graph itself, there's some more work. So first let's test if our parameters are working, while walking is working, and our attacking boolean also lets our character attack. So that's also working. Let's start to work on the setters of these two parameters. So let's start off with checking if we have a pawn owner is valid node. If it's valid, we'll set the speed and set the attacking. Get movement components. Get velocity. This also holds the direction, so vector length to get a simple speed. Now for this, we have not made an is attacking boolean inside of our character yet, so we'll do that first. So this is our character. We'll set up the mesh as well. So delete the cubes, don't need those anymore. And inside of the mesh, let's get our mage model. Very simple mage model, but he's rotated incorrectly, so rotate him around, position him correctly. Let's adjust the capsule component a bit so that it corresponds better with his shape. Something like this is nice. New variable here is attacking, and we'll play around with this variable later, but let's first set it in here. So what we have to do is we have to cast to my character. If you do it like this, we're casting every frame now. I'm just gonna leave it like this. You can just cast once and then store this, store the character in a reference, and maybe that's better. But I'm going to just skip this now. So get is attacking and place it in there. Okay, and now that we have animations, I want to spawn his or play his animations at the correct moment. So in animations, in his throw animation, around this point where he actually would throw a ball if he was holding something, I'm going to add a notify. Call this launch. At the moment of the launch, I need to tell the character we're launching something, and I'm going to do this with a custom event called fire or launch projectile. I'm just using some different names to keep them apart. And in the event of anim notify launch, after this event, I'm going to get this character, and call the fire event. Alright, so should be happening when we play this animation that we also fire this event in our character. Of course, I want to fire from the staff now, so I'll create a new staff blueprint. Using the mesh from the staff. So the staff is positioned strangely, that's so we can more easily attach it to the hand socket. I need some component to fire the missile from, and I'm going to use the arrow component for that. I'll get the direction from the character and not from the arrow component. I'll just get the position from the arrow component. In the event graph, I'm going to create a custom event. And let's call this fire projectile. And it needs an input, the direction, and that's of the type rotator. And we'll do something very similar as we did previously. Spawn this actor, so we might as well copy this node, but we'll recreate it here. So spawn actor from class, type is the projectile. So the transform is a location coming from the arrow. Alright, get world location for this thing, for its location, and the rotation will come from our from our character. Collision, let's always spawn, ignore collisions, and that's good for now. Maybe I'll turn off the collision of the static mesh. No collision, otherwise the mesh will push the player once we attach them together. So we'll attach the staff, which I'll compile first, to our character now. We'll do this from the event begin play. Start off by spawning the staff. And just leave it like this. Just spawn it there first and we'll attach it to our mesh. So let's save our staff in a variable. So I'll call this variable current staff, or maybe current staff reference, since it's a reference to a staff blueprint reference. Alright, and let's set this first, and let's now use an attach actor to component node. And not an attach actor to actor, but to the component. And we'll use this as the target, the component is the mesh, and here I have to write correctly, right, and this is the name of the socket. So instead of keep relative offset, snap to target, including scale, since the pivot of my staff is set up in such a way that this will work. Alright, so let's do the firing of our projectiles now. We can delete this and this print string, which I did for some debugging. But let's set our attacking variable. So setter here, set it to true, get the character movement, set the max walk speed to something very low, since otherwise my character will slide while he's attacking. Should just stand still. Let's delay. Let's copy this set to this side, and let's turn it off again, and let's set it again to his value of 6 or 500. I'm not sure, I think it's still 600. You should store that value in a variable. And instead, let's do the firing from this event. So let's call our staff and do the fire projectile. Let's call the fire projectile function, and we need to provide a direction. So let's just get the direction of ourselves. I think actor get actor rotation, and this should be enough. So we did quite a bit. Don't know if everything's set up correctly, but let's test this. So we're not animating. This is because our character does not have the animation blueprint set up. In here, animation mode, blueprint. The animation blueprint is not set up in this way. It is. So let's test. We're walking. That's good. We're idling. And we're shooting. We're shooting our balls from our staff. And at the correct time. We'll now implement some particles so that our projectiles look a little bit fancier. So in our spell projectile blueprint, so right before we destroy the character, let's create an explosion here. That's emitter at location, spawn emitter at location. That's it. We can destroy it right after that. Which emitter? Our explosion. The location is location of ourselves. Rotation doesn't matter. And in our viewport, instead of using this ball, let's just delete this ball. And let's increase the size a bit of this one. Let's add a particle component which just runs our particle all the time. And let's see how this looks. So if I fire now, that looks better. So our particle or fireball is flying through the air, and we have an explosion if we hit something. Alright, so that's it. There are many more tutorials about particles, so I won't cover that, just implementing them in Blueprint. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and you see that we're actually starting to create a real game. Of course we need much more art, but I won't cover that. That'll be too long. Alright, see you, bye.